And everybody's second race here at Greyville. We're going to go have a quick look at what the story is for race number 2 on Saturday. This is the Backchat Maiden plate over 1,200 metres. And in this event, number 6, Knockout, is the favourite at 2-1. 4, Kingdom of Gold, is 22-10. And 5, Bitcoin Baby, is trading at 6-1. The rest of the double figures, Daryl Marie's with me, and I've got Darren Burrows. I'll go to Darren Burrows first to start of the bipot. What does it look? How open is the opening leg?
Morning, Clyde. I do like this horse, Kingdom of Gold, quite a lot. She was drawn on the wrong side of the course at Turfentine on debut behind Colorado Creek. We've seen Dolcezza just come out on Thursday and frank that form from only 2 runners from that form line. And I think this filly's going to build on that effort. I favour her over the Cape Town Rainer Knockout. Fair debut behind October Morn, who is quite a smart sort. So I saw the race between the 2 favourites. I'm narrowly favouring the 4.
Okay, Daryl Marie with me. Tell me, Daryl, your side?
I've also narrowed it down to 2 runners, numbers 4 and 6. I'm leaning towards number 6, Knockout. She debuted against winners. I thought she was doing her best work late. The first 4 past the post, all had racing experience. I thought that was a decent enough effort. We saw a winner from that form line in Oni San, who finished a length and a half ahead of her, come out and won quite convincingly. October Morn, in her post-maiden run, she ran second to Distant Winter in the Winter Nursery. So I'm happy enough with her in the opening leg of the bipot.
All right, so let's get on to Daryl's bipot. 4 and 6 in the first leg, both the winners from those 2 runners. And the interesting, I would have thought, is a horse like Kingdom of Gold, because Dolcezza was rather impressive. But the winners come from both of those horses. So 4 and 6 by 1 and 7, by 4 and 6, by 6 and 11, by 1, 8, 14, by 1 and 7. And that bipot cost you 96 Rand. Darren Burrows' bipot. He's gone first leg 4 and 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4 and 7, by 4 and 6, by 4 and 11, by 1, 8, 9, 13 and 14. And then the last leg of his bipot, he's going to end up bankering number 7 on the card on the bipot, and that is a 200 Rand perm, effectively the last one being See It Again. On to the third race we go now, and this is the Daily News Milk Fund, handicap over 1,000 metres. So have a look at the betting for the third, where 7 Get in the Queue is 4-1, but joints. I see Bevy's Delight. There's some interest in Bevy's Delight trading at 5-1. Number 3 Warship is 5-1, and the 4 Ancient Epic 5-1. So Darren, there are quite a few. The market does indicate rather an open race.
Definitely, but my first choice has got to be Get in the Queue. She took on the Colts last time out. She ran behind Renaissance Man and Issy Vungu Vungu. She's back against her own sex, and I think she could rate the horse to beat. She likes to race handy. Richard Foree in the saddle. Dangers, Ancient Epic. She's finding consistency in her form. A filly like Bevy's Delight's got a bit to do with 60 kilos this time around. She picked up a 9-point penalty for running behind Marigold Hotel last time out. So she meets Ancient Epic a couple of kilos worse off on the last time they met. Others to consider Big Eyed Girl and Warship, but I thought Get in the Queue definitely the horse to beat in this lineup.
So you also got to have a look at basically the Get in the Queue form. Daryl, that was the Renaissance Man, and Issy Vungu Vungu, we know, came out and won the computer form sprint from that form line. So that's got to be respected. Get in the Queue. Your first choice?
Yes, Clyde. And Richard Foree really gets on well with this filly. She's having a peak run and she's back in a handicap. So she's one of the leading lights. I know Bevy's Delight is held on form, but in my opinion, she's much better at effort than what it appears on paper. She was bought for about 200 meters up the straight. She was making a return from a layoff. So she's having a peak run. I think with a clear run, she could certainly be a factor, even though the weights don't favour her.
Okay, let's have a look at selections. Daryl's going 1 and 7. So Bevy's Delight is in the play. With the 7 Get in the Queue, by Banker 4, by 6 and 11, by 1, 8 and 14, by 1 and 7, by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, by 1 and 6. Take a look at what Darren Burrows is doing. He's going 4 and 7, by 4 and 6, by 4 and 11, by 1, 8, 9, by banker 7, by 3, 9, 10, by 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 and 10. Moving on to race number 4, time for the pick 6. There's a carryover to this pick 6, R1 million. They're expecting 6 million in the pool here. Number 6, Square Union Square is 2-1 favourite. 3, Lord William is at 3-1. You've got 4, Noble City at 3-1. And the other in the market under double figures is the 5, Imposing at 4-1. The rest you can get double figures. And note that number 1 on the card, Scratch, that's not running. So perhaps the Union Square's turn to get it right, Darren.
Well, Clyde, he comes in here best weighted and was probably in need of that last effort, returning after 5 months off the track. But I can tell you this horse, Noble City, is well ahead of the handicapper. Even though he doesn't come in here near best weighted, I can tell you this horse has tons of ability. Last time out from a deep draw, was tucked in a long way off the pace, made his run down the worst going down the inside. You can put a line through that effort, 2 lengths off Kitchikal. At his best, he would have won a race of that nature. So I'm going to lean towards Noble City to beat Union Square and Lord William to full trifectas.
Yeah, I see the form not too bad, Kitchikal, in any event, because that was Ponte Pietra came out and won from there, Darryl. How keen are you on Union Square, Mr. Marie?
I'm not too sure if he needs one more start, Clyde. But he's certainly slugging at the weights of the year. He's 5.5 kilograms best in. I expect him to reverse that form with Imposing. But I'm also leaning towards Noble City. I think you can just put a line through his latest effort. I really believe he's going to push forward from a neat draw, different tactics this time round. I'm expecting him to set the record straight.
All right, well, how do we play the pick 6? Because there is a scratching in here, number 1. So for those of you who may want to add the scratching in case the favourite wins, of course, the question mark is who will end up the favourite, Union Square, Lord William or Noble City. So not absolutely certain, but Darren Burrows has gone 4 and 6 in the first leg, by 4 and 11, by 1, 2, 5, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13 and 14. He is bankering the Daily News favourite, number 7, See It Again, and the Hollywoodbets Durban July favourite, early favourite that is, See It Again, by the whole field, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 10 at the back of the carryover pick 6. That amount 3,538 Rand or 354 Rand for 10%. A look at race number 5, which is the Lonsdale Cup, 2,400 metres, and there shall be 13 of them. Well, this is the time we're recording on the Friday. 13 of them that go to the gate. Interesting, because it's a kind of race really where anything can come out of here and win. 11 one-way traffic is favourite at 5-2 with the Justin Snaith stable. They've also got Salvatore Mundi, but that's 7-1. Sean Terry's bringing Future Pearl there. Taking Future Pearl to the race, number 4 in the card, trading at 6-1, and then Vaughan Marshall's got Sensor Unico at 8-1, number 13. Mike de Cox bringing Aragosta at 8-1, and Dean Cannemeyer is bringing Rex Union in there. So all those sayers, all those trainers have mentioned, but look, I don't know if it ends there, because there may be 1 or 2 Sharpie or Shoodies or whatever you want to call them at the bottom half of the field that could feature. Darren, what do you think?
Clyde, this is a race I'm going short in. I've only gone the 4 and 11 in the pick 6. Obviously a leg you want to get through because it is a tricky card. But one-way traffic for me is the horse to beat. He does love Greyville. His last run in the Greyville 1900, he was flying at the finish, beaten 2 lengths by Pakaya. That was a nice, just to bring him on for this race. The 2400 right up his alley. 11 draw, he's probably going to tuck in off the pace, given a patient ride, and I think he'll be swooping on by. I'm very confident one-way traffic will be right there at the finish. And Future Pearl, I think he's an up-and-coming 3-year-old stayer. Impressive last time out. He wasn't disgraced in the Derby. I think with 53 kilos, he's got to be a serious danger to one-way traffic.
All right, thanks for that, Darren. So you're finding it to be just a couple. You may well be right, Daryl, but I thought it might be a bit trickier than that. How do you? There's a 33-1 shot that I think needs to go in, but we'll talk about it in a minute. What do you like?
I've also narrowed this race down to 2 runners. I'm heavily in one-way Traffic's camp. Very eye-catching return last time out. He's going to love the step up in trip. I actually like that he's drawn out wide because he needs to get in behind runners and settle. And if he needs to get going early, Grant Funniker can make that move around the bend. You don't want to be stuck on the fence. So I'm heavily in his camp. If there is a horse that could biggest danger, I'm leaning towards number 6, Otto Lycan. He's badly in at the weights of year, but he's a lightly raced individual and he's certainly unexposed of this distance. So if he's better than his current form, now that he's been stepped up in trip, he could be a factor. You got Muzi Yeni from a neat draw, only 52 kilograms to shoulder. He's going to push forward. He's having his peak run. It's quite a bit in his favor besides being out at the weights.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly the horse I was talking about. So Otto Lucan must not be left out of your play. If you are doing trifectas and quartets, number 6 on the card at 16-1. And whilst the longer straight like Turpentine is his preference, Otto Lucan is a huge engine. He's a massive horse. And this guy, if he turns it on, they're going to have something to think about. One-way traffic, a place from Darren Burrows here. And he says, take that place all to come into a horse called See It Again. Later on, that's his recommended play for this event. Back with us in Durban, and race 6 is the WOOLAVINGTON 2000, and have a look at the market where Rain in Holland in KwaZulu-Natal now, and trading at 2-1, number 1 on the card. 14 Silver Darling is 13-2, 8 Marina 7-1, 12 None Other is 7-1, was 7-1 on the Friday, and 13 Sarki is at 9-1. They are betting 12-1 and better about the others. Interesting race. Rain in Holland in top form. I'll start with Daryl Marie. Daryl, let's talk about this, just how you summarized it, with some serious talent here that are presenting themselves on Saturday.
Yes, quite interesting. I'm favouring the older horses over the 3-year-olds. Obviously, you can have a look at the best weighted column and you'll notice that Rain in Holland and Silver Darling are the 2 best weighted. 3 pounds or 1.5 kilograms ahead of Marina, who's also one of the older brigade. Yes, Clyde, Rain in Holland, she's in cracking form currently. She had 1 or 2 indifferent runs, but I think she's certainly back to her best. She's very fit and she's got a 1 draw, so you'll be crazy to ignore her chances. Silver Darling, I was very impressed with that comeback run. Now, the winner on that occasion got given a great ride by Grant Funniker, and I liked what I saw in the latter stages. Now, she's out to defend her crown. She obviously won this event last year. And, you know, she's still improving. Daughter by Silvano, she's getting better with racing. She just needs some luck in running from a tricky draw, and she gets the capable services of Richard Free.
I'll come to you, Darren, and just talk about this. Take us to your top 2 or 3.
Tricky race, Clyde. I give the 3-year-olds a serious chance too, but I can tell you this filly Gilded Butterfly, since being stepped up to 2000, she's a different filly. Last time out of a 2000, she absolutely trotted up, beating Bless My Stars, who was well clear of the 3rd horse. This filly, I think she's improving with racing, and I wouldn't ignore Gilded Butterfly at a big price. Rain in Holland, she seems to be back to best. That last effort was a good effort behind Perta Manzana, so she did confirm that consistency in her last 2 starts. Marina, I wouldn't write off. She's a course and distance winner. And the 3-year-olds, horses like Sarki, that was a good run in the Guineas. I think she's a better horse over 2,000 meters. And then Silver Darling, a very good filly too. So it's wide open. In my exotics, I've played to beat Rain in Holland, but no surprise to see her win.
Yeah, it won't be a surprise, and I wonder how Samanga will ride her, because she's got toe now as Rain in Holland. You wonder, would she go start to finish? Daryl Marie's worked out a jackpot, 1-8-14 by 1 and 7 by by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, by 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. So that's a 180 Rand jackpot out at Hollywoodbets Greyville. On to the daily news now. Over 2,000 meters of Group 1 event, and here we see a super lineup. This is the precursor, if you like, to the Hollywoodbets Durban July, and 7 See It Again is 16-10 favourite. 3 Without Question 3-1. 1 Cousin Casey 9-2. 6 Dave the King is 8-1, and 8 Son of Raj is at 10-1. It is 14-1 about number 10 Shoemaker. Anfield's Rockets here again and trading at 16s, and the 4 East Coast is even up there, but it market 18-1. They bet 20-1 and better, 25-1 and better about the others. Daryl Marie, let's go to you first. Daily news time. Favourite right now is See It Again, and price-wise, how does the market correct?
Yeah, he certainly deserves to be favourite. It shows you how funny this game really is. You hear from people that say they spoke to Pierre Straight on me after the race, and he said he should have won it. And then a few weeks later or a week later in the press, you read that striker said no, he had every opportunity. So you just have to watch that race for yourself. He gets interfered with twice at vital occasions in the race. We don't know if he would have beaten Charles Dickens, but it was a cracking effort nonetheless. I'm backing him up with a one-horse, Clyde, and that's Cousin Casey. Now, I know he's well held on form, but Cousin Casey made use of his turn off foot a long way from home last time out, and I love the fact that he's having his peak run now. He's having his third run off the rest, whereas here it is, again, he's having his second run off the rest. That's the only reason why I'm going 1 and 7.
Okay, well, that's interesting. So Cousin Casey does certainly come into the play. It's got to have a serious claim after his Guinea's effort. There wasn't much separating them anyway. And, of course, it does give a line for Dave the King here, Darren. So what do you think?
Clyde, if See It Again carries on progressing the way he is, I think he'll end up the best horse in the country. He was my early July fancy at 25-1. I know he's 9-2 now. Last time out was a cracking effort. I mean, Cousin Casey came around him. He got squeezed badly at a crucial stage, came around him and still passed him the final 200. So it was an impressive run. I think he's a horse looking for 2,000 meters plus. He's only gone beyond a mile once in the Cape Derby when he beat Charles Dickens and Without Question. And I think back over 2,000 meters, he's my banker on the card. So I'm going to See It Again. I'm very confident. And if he does win this in style, he'll start even shorter for the July.
Yeah, that's correct. If he does win and he wins impressively, See It Again, he will. Those odds will slash for the Hollywoodbets Durban July. See how good he is today, back over 2,000 meters. Darren Burrows, straight up bet, win bet, number 7, See It Again. On to race number 8 on the card we go to, a handicap fillies and mares over 1,400 meters. Top of the boards, number 3, He'd Call Me Bocky, trading at 9-2. That's for the Harold Crawford and Michelle Rick stable, and Grant Van Niekerk rides that. 8 Princess Philippa is the second choice at 7-1. 4 Winter's Destiny is at 8-1. Dean Caname bumped into him the other night. He gives her a chance. And number 10, Makara, is trading at 8-1. 9-1, number 6, Let's Not Linger. And 10-1 about number 9, Hawker Typhoon. It's 12-1 and better the others. Darren, I'm coming back to you. Take me through the race. What's your first choice?
Clyde, a very tricky race. The race 8 and 9 are very hard. So I can't really stick the punters into one horse. But He'd Call Me Bocky couldn't be more impressive last time out. From the front, never in doubt. And the Greyville short run-in, if she goes to the front from a decent draw, she could be very hard to peg back. I know Grant Van Niekerk is plus 1.5 kilos, so 54. Still a handy galloping weight, so it shouldn't bother her too much. Makara interests me. I think she's a very good filly on her day. Obviously, maybe best over 1,1600, but she will be running on. If you're looking past those two, Hawker Typhoon comes into the race, a couple of others, it could get very tricky.
All right, at least with He'd Call Me Bocky, that also came out in one perfect trust. So there's been some sort of confirmation from the form line. Darren makes it quite open. What do you think of it?
Sorry, Clyde, I can't help. If you're running in any of the exotics, you certainly want to have as many as possible. I think the pace should be on with Hit Komi Boki. I'm certain she's going to push forward from a neat draw. Then you got the likes of Dance Me Lord, who's drawn out wider. She'll be trying to overcome that draw and get into a striking position. So I think the pace will be on, and that may well assist a filly like or a mare, if I'm not mistaken. Number 2, Maria Carolina. Last time out, you can just put a line through that effort. She was over racing, and she had done a race already turning for home. She's only got 52.5 to shoulder. I know she's well exposed, but I think the race will pan out well for her, and I can see her running into the money. But to pinpoint a win over here, Clyde, I can't assist, sorry.
All right, well, let's put the slides up, and we'll see that Daryl Marie's taking exactas, and he's boxing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in that order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The first 6, he likes them, and it'll cost you 30 Rand if you spend the same. Ninth and final race. Let's have a look at this handicap, fillies and mares. It's at the 74 level, so that's an indication that field will have to apply. I don't know, Darren, what you think of it. On the Friday, they bet 5-1 the whole field. What do you like?
How many times have I been for this filly Double Dream, and she keeps on disappointing. Last time out, not striding out, laying behind. That was on the poly. If you go over course and distance, she won first time out over course and distance, beating Hold My Hand. That's her only try over the track and trip. So this is the ideal track and trip for her. And off a 67, I mean, surely she's going to be competitive. Dangers, Palm Breeze, jumping from a deep draw. She likes to race handy. Maquette, never to prove herself over further than 1,000 meters. But maybe she is looking for it now because he was staying on strongly last time out. There are others. I thought Double Dream, we could see a much improved run though.
Okay, so Darren certainly looking out for Double Dream again for the Vaughan Marshall and Samanga Kumalo combination. On Friday, this was 8-1. Daryl, what you're tuning towards?
Sure, another difficult event, Clyde. Number 1, Dancing Dora, and she went a bit off, but her last 2 runs have been very encouraging. She's got Gavin from a 1 draw. I think she's off a competitive mark. So we saw a win from that form line in time for charity winning. If she can just settle in running and get a good break, I can see her running into the money. Then Chance's Pride, number 6. Possibly in need of a penultimate start. And then last time out, she gave her a stable companion, or was it her stable companion? No, she gave the Hollywoodbets Syndicate winner a lot of cheek. And she just came up for air in the latter stages. Richard knows her. She's having her peak run. So if she can just breathe and relax in running, I can see her winning. Yeah, but another very tricky event, Clyde.
Not an easy race. So a number in here. Here we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. In terms of Daryl's recommended play, the last race at exacta boxed with 1 Dancing Dora, 2 Maquette, 3 Mystic Angel, the 4 Mbewu, and the 6 Chance's Pride. That takes care of the Saturday preview. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. We'll be, of course, joining you for the Sunday race meeting, and hope you have a good weekend.